Namaste friends, this is Dr. Dinesh Soni, the admin of Indian Temples, the founder of Indian Temples Research and Media Services. If you remember, if you have watched our previous videos, earlier we had a word with Savani Shetty. She is an archaeologist and she has done a lot of extensive research on the culture of Goa. Taking forward the same topic, today we have another great team of enthusiastic archaeologists, or we can say Indiologists from Goa. We have with us the team of Yugaantar Goa. Let me introduce you to the team. Abhijit Desai, he is teacher and orator, and he is the founder of Yugaantar Goa. We have also Sanisha Desai with us. She is the co-founder of Yugaantar Goa. So welcome friends, welcome to Indian Temples channel. First thing I want to know कि Yugaantar Goa क्या है? What exactly are you doing under the brand name Yugaantar Goa?
Yes, hello. Basically, we all know that whenever we travel outside Goa, or any person outside Goa will be having an image of Goa like just beaches, or it's just about party, nightlife, or alcohol. But is it really so? Like, if we come to Goa, yeah, of course there are beaches, but then there is completely another world. Like, there is some Indic places to explore. There are many temples which other peoples are not aware of. They just think that Goa is about churches and just beaches. But Goa has many other temples, like many temples over here. And we realized that when we were doing our graduation and when we used to travel outside the state, so most of the time the students or the people whom we used to meet, they used to ask us, "Oh, you all might be spending your weekends on beaches." But then that was something that used to strike us. Like, is it so? So during the lockdown period, when it was more of social media, we saw that there are many food pages, or there are so many contents about India, about Bharat coming on Instagram. So we thought that why not we start something in which we will take a platform like social media to give an image of Goa, or bring an image of Goa, the Indic image. So during the lockdown period, we started with this page Yugaantar Goa, on which we do more of content like Indic content. We write about the pre-Portuguese era. Most of the people think that the history of Goa starts from the Portuguese period, but it's not so. Just before Portuguese, there were many emperors that have ruled Goa. Emperors like Chalukyas or Kadambas, then Shilahas, Bhoj kingdom. So there were many kingdoms that have ruled Goa, and many of the people were not aware of it. Even students of Goa were not aware of it, because it is never taught in their history books. It is not there in their history books. So we took this platform to educate these students, or to educate the people, and so that the others come to know about the Bharatiya culture of Goa.
It's a very interesting concept. And what are the activities that you guys are performing under Yugaantar Goa?
Yeah, so initial stage was like showing a Goan connect to mainland India. So one of our first video, that was Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj in Goa. So after that, our video was Swami Vivekananda and his contribution to Goa. So the main concept of us was to portraying a story, so telling a story ki how Goa is not a separate thing, not a separate civilization. It is a part of the Bharatiya civilization, and how it is connected. But as we was doing the content like this, we realized ki our Goan people, a Goan youth basically, was not aware about their own roots. Okay, so they were not aware about, okay, outsiders are not aware about the temple history of Goa. We can understand because for a long period of time it was been portrayed that Goa is a Rome of East and also. But us Goans who have born in Goa, who have all the roots in Goa, were not aware. So we got some questions like, who is my Kuldevta? My surname is this. So what is my relation to that village? And we suddenly realized that there is a very lack of, and there is a lot of information which are available in books, because there are many writers like Pisulekar, Rui Gomes Pereira. These are Goan writers who have done a lot of work. Goa archives are full of information, but the youth were not reading, not going to a library, and there we felt that there is a need to portray these stories, this history, in a simpler way, in a nice way that you can connect. So we started telling the story about temples. These are the, we say, akhyaikas are there about the temple. This is the references about this temple, this deity is there in these Puranas, in these things. Then we said, okay, this temple was so much prosperous before Portuguese have come. This temple was located in the village, and then how Portuguese entered the Goa, how they started interfering with all the socio-cultural life, how the this thing prohibitions were done to the temples, and how this temple was destroyed and the temple was migrated. I think you must know, our viewers must have known that the Goa have a lot of migrated temples. When I say migrated temples means the original place of the temple is somewhere else, and after the persecution of Portuguese, they were moved to different place. But right now there was no link, so people was not knowing that from this village my temple, my deity, my Kul Devata was. So I was from that village. So we started telling these stories. So this was getting a good thing. And what was happening, our Goan, when we talk about Goa's history, a big part of the Goa's history is about Inquisition. So there was a time, not a long back, just 3 years back or 4 years back, no one was willing to talk about Inquisition. I think Shefali Tai was the only one person who was there on the internet, who was there on the social media, who was there on the national platform, who was speaking about Inquisition, Goa Inquisition. There were some orators who used to speak in Goa, but there was not a voice on social media who used to speak. So we started doing content on Inquisition. What was Inquisition? What were the rules that was implemented? What were the rules that was, how the persecution was done? How the exodus of Hindus were done during the Inquisition? That videos was, people were started liking that videos. Slowly we extended our content to also the Goa's freedom struggle. So Goa has a long period of freedom struggle. So the first attempt to get the freedom, or the first resistance for the freedom was done in 1583, and coincidentally it is a very proud to tell you, or tell our viewers also, it was from our village. So I am from that village, Kunkalim village, where the first uprising against the Portuguese had happened. Sanisha have a maternal roots in that village. Other team members of us have a link to the village. So we started telling that story, the story about the uprising of Kunkalim. We slowly moved to the revolutionaries, the Goan revolutionaries, their stories. It was not highlighted that way. Then the rituals. Goa has very unique rituals. If you have, many of our viewers must have seen the Kantara movie, and after that these rituals got that kind of glamour, that publicity. But our Konkan, or the full of Konkan, is full of such rituals. Each village has a unique festival, unique culture, unique way of doing his folk, unique art, unique dance. We started portraying that things that connected, and that is what we are doing in Yugaantar, portraying the real Goa to Goans also, and to our brother Indians, all Indians also, all Bhartiyas also. This is a Goa that really Goa is.
Goa, the first Indian territory to be colonized and the last to get liberated. Goa's journey is the journey of struggle for the cultural survival. Even after 400 years of colonization, Goa is still intact with the roots of Bharat. Let us explore the Itihas of Goa.
Very interesting work you are doing. You touched many different topics while you were speaking about the activities of Yugaantar. You touched about the culture. You touched about the Inquisition by Portuguese. You touched about how the festivals are different in Goa. So we will be coming to these points one by one. One particular sentence you mentioned that you want to show the world that you are not very different from the other cultures in India. You are also an integral part of the same culture. So that's a very important point because from an outsider view, I have noticed that many people think of Goa as only the land of beaches, the land of booze, and the land of alcohol, maybe. So there is an image that everyone there drinks almost 24 hours a day, and they are very lazy kind of thing. So these are all kind of perception that we have about the people of Goa, and not just the people of Goa. We also have many different notions about the culture of Goa. That it's heavily influenced by the Portuguese, and it's very similar to European culture. That's one common notion that many people possess. So it's a very good thing that you are doing the good work in this field. I remember, I think around a couple of years ago, I had stumbled upon your page, Yugaantar Goa, while I was just looking for some information about Tambi Sulla temple. And from that, I got to know about many different activities of Goa. When I visited Goa last year, I only knew about Tambi Sulla temple. I did not know about many other temples. But it's only because of you I am getting to know about many different temples. So I want to thank you for the efforts you are taking for all this thing. So getting ahead with our discussion, while you mentioned that Goan culture is very much an integral part of Indic culture, yes, definitely it is. But still, we find there are some differences in Goan culture and the culture of other parts of country. So before Kantara, we did not know much about the culture of the what you can see the places by the Arabian Sea. So maybe Konkan, maybe it's north of Karnataka, or maybe Goa. So I would like to know a little bit about the culture of Goa and how is the overall culture. What are the most important festivals or important deities of the Goan culture?
Actually, even Goa has many unique festivals or many unique cultures or rituals those have been practiced. We'll take one example of Chikal Kalo. So Chikal Kalo means there is one temple of Devki Krishna in Marcel, probably the only temple in India of Devki and Krishna. And over here there is one festival of Chikal Kalo, where the devotees of this temple play in the mud, and such there are many unique festivals. Like for example, Shisharani in Tanakona, in the temple of Mallikarjun, there is one ritual of Shisharani. Over there are three human heads kept in the form of a chula. Like we all know, like chula, there are three stones. So those human heads are being kept like the chula, and there is a fire that is being put in the middle, and a rice pot is kept in the middle of it, and the rice is being cooked over there. So just now Abhideep said about Tantara. So there are many festivals like this. I think Abhideep may tell you all more about Jode.
Just, yeah. Before that, I can mention one point. Goan culture is different from the rest of Indian culture, but it is not because of the European influence. I think it is because not on Goan, the Konkan, the belt of the Konkan. We are a nature worshipper. We are a deep nature worshipper. Our gods, which we follow, local village gods, deities, are very. I think the whole of Hinduism is the part. Nature worship is a very integral is an integral part of Hinduism also. But this belt is very much into that thing because Western Ghats के बाजू में ही पूरा बेल्ट है. It is full of greeneries and all. So this connect with nature is everywhere. It can be seen in every part, whether it is Ganesh Chaturthi. So for us Goans, biggest festival is Ganesh Chaturthi.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. You mentioned that Goan culture is very much nature worshipping culture. So is that the reason why we see a lot of greenery or a lot of nature preserved in the areas of Konkan or Goa? So is it because it is related to religion some way? The nature
Yeah,
and
of
the
course.
religion are
Because
interconnected.
we
Is that the
because right. Because Nag Panchami is a big festival in Goa. For we you might or most of our viewers might have heard about Shanta Durga. Okay, so other name of Shanta Durga or Shanta Durga is also worshipped as Sateri or Mahamaya Bhumika. So generally, what is Sateri? Sateri is a worship of ant hill. So you will find ant hill in there is ant hill temple in every village of Goa. There is a Shanta Durga or Sateri in every village of Goa. And why that ant hill is worshipped? So not because it's a place where the Sarpa or Naga resist. We worship that ant hill because ant hill considered as the most fertile land of that village. So we saw ना कि most fertile, most moist land में ही ant hill बनता है. So we worship the ant hill as a सौभाग्यवती. We as a nature उसको जो चूड़ियाँ होती हैं बैंगल्स ग्रीन बैंगल्स देते हैं साड़ी उसको ग्रीन साड़ी रेड साड़ी पहनाते हैं उसके मतलब वी आर वेरी मच टूवर्ड्स द नेचर थिंग. I was talking about Ganesh Chaturthi. So for us, Ganesh Chaturthi is the Sarvajanik Ganesh Utsav we know, famous in Mumbai and all. But might be Lokman Tilak also have taken this concept from the Konkan belt. And over here, Ganesh Chaturthi is not just the worship of Ganesha, it is the worship of the soil. Basically, it is a worship of nature because there is a interesting tradition we follow during Ganesh Chaturthi that we tied fruits, the wild fruits, wild flowers above the Ganpati. We called it as Matoli. Okay, so on the place where we the Ganpati is worshipped, above it square shape the convoy is been placed, and on that we tie all the vegetables, all the flowers, all the fruits, all wild fruit. That fruit is found in the jungle. We tie it up down the Ganpati. We keep the rice as a symbol of this thing. So it is also Ganesh Chaturthi. We celebrate Ganesh Chaturthi in very this thing. Then beside the Ganpati, we will also worship the Haldis Poda as a Gauri. There we will worship the Nariyal. So it is very much related. Then there is a interesting this thing called Naya Panchami. Might be the tradition will be everywhere in the India also. Ki we worship the first rice, the first crop that is we tie this to our houses. So there is a tradition. I talked about Nag Panchami, very much famous in Goa. Nag Panchami is, we know it is how much it is related. Then there are many worships which are related to animals as such. The Vagro deity is very much common in Goa. Vagro is a tiger deity, tiger this thing. Then one festival happens called Baras, which actually is a kind of worship or kind of giving some man or this thing to crocodiles. That kind of festival happens in Goa. So Goans are very much connected with, not Goans, actually the word Goans, Konkan, the people from Konkan are very much connected to the nature. For them, the nature is the god, and might be because of that the nature is there. We have a great bond with the nature. In our deities, there are Vanalakshmi, there are a lot of sacred grooms. Tanaya might tell you about the sacred grooves and all. So she has some.
So sacred groves are very much popular in Goa. Like how you said that the nature is being protected. So yeah, the nature is being protected in the name of a god, which we known as sacred grove. So in Konkani we call sacred groves as Devachi Rai. So in sacred groves, so many trees have been protected, like huge banyan trees, peepal trees, the heritage trees, also the state tree of Goa, that is Matti, in English we call as crocodile bark tree. So that is being protected with the sacred groves. During the Inquisition period, the sacred groves are not just worshipped as a sacred groves, as a worship of a trees, but these groves were used for shifting the deities too. Whenever you visit sacred groves in Goa, you find too many idols lying in the jungles, which being protected by the nature itself. Okay, then so many idols are there. Idols such as Brahmani, Mahishasur Mardini, Gajalakshmi. The panels of Gajalakshmi are protected in the sacred groves, and nobody cuts the leaves or any part of the tree. So they are protected in the name of a god, and they are also given names such as Azobachi Rai, Morpillachi Rai. So their names are also derived from the gods itself. So they are not being harmed by any human bodies, and also in the sacred groves it works as an environment in whole which protects the animals too, small species which are important from for our environment, for our biodiversity balance and all.
Very interesting concepts. You talked about how many different trees are worshipped in Goa. I mostly knew about Narali Purnima when the coconut trees are worshipped. We also have a celebration of Vata Purnima here in parts of Maharashtra. Is it celebrated there?
Yeah, it's common. It's very common.
While Kanaya was talking about this Devachi Rai, okay.
So,
I remember one Marathi movie. Dilip Prabhavalkar was acting in that movie. I was just searching for the name. I can't find the
Devrai,
name right
Devrai.
now. Dev.
I think the name is Devrai. So in Marathi it is known as Devrai.
Yeah, Devrai. I know. I'm trying to find that particular movie. Yeah, the movie is Narbachi Wadi. Have you guys seen that movie by any
Yes.
chance? Okay.
Yes,
So
I have seen that movie.
you have seen that movie Narbachi Wadi. So actually, in that movie, I saw the culture of Konkan or Goa is not very much visible to outside world. Earlier I knew about the culture only from the books of Pula Deshpande. Pula Deshpande has written lot about the places in Ratnagiri that was supposed to be his sasural. So he has written a lot of
Yes.
about Ratnagiri, and then up from Narbachi Wadi I saw that those many big jungles, forest area that
It is
connects the two villages.
Kulaghar. Yeah, it is known as Kulaghar. So Kulaghar is a very important part of Goan culture, basically. So what the all trees of this thing called the plantation generally, and between the plantation there is one big house where the caretaker of that plantation lives and all.
Okay.
So that thing is that is known as a Kulaghar. So there are many Kulaghars, big Kulaghars in Goa. So it's a very cultural thing for. I think we'll add something. So what is different from one part is different from the Goan culture and the rest of the Konkan culture. That is where the Inquisition or the persecution of the Portuguese come in. So right now, if you travel from Konkan, you find some similarities, but with that time also you look to, okay, कुछ अलग है, जरा सा तो कुछ अलग है. So that different thing is because of the struggle that Goans have taken to be a Hindu or to survive their traditions. So it was not easy for them to sustain that culture. So and in between them they have there were some different rituals that were started during the Inquisition. There were some traditions were started because of the Inquisition. Because of that, you can find a little change in the culture because of the resistance the Hindus of the Goa part, Gomantak part that given, and it is little bit different from the Konkan. Otherwise, the main culture, the root is the same. You can see it throughout the Konkan belt.
So yeah, you talked about the movies and different cultures of Goa. You mentioned about how the history has affected the Goan. Portuguese Inquisition has affected the culture of Goa. Earlier too, when I was interviewing Savni Shetty, she had mentioned many things about how our original culture differed a bit because of the Inquisition, because of the rules that were imposed by Portuguese, and how that has affected the overall behavior pattern or overall rituals of Goa. So that also we had also earlier talked. So talking about movies again, we were earlier talking about Narbachi Wadi, the Marathi movie, and how they have shown what was the word you used?
Kulaghar.
Yeah. So you mentioned about Kulaghar earlier. So when we talk about the movies about Goa, most of us outsiders think of Dil Chahta Hai because that was the one movie that made Goa the Goa tourism very popular. But apart from that side of Goa, if we want to see the real culture of Goa, real heritage of Goa, are there any Hindi movies that you would suggest us to watch?
Hindi movies that suggested the Goa as a little bit Singham might be. The others can add some their comments, but I feel the Singham, first Singham, that was this thing. They had shown little bit proper, but the language they were speaking was Marathi. So they should have, if they had used the Kokani, this thing was the Singham was very much similar. So many temples was shown in the Singham movie. Any other movies Anisha can add?
I'll not add any such movie, Bollywood movie, because at least I'll not recommend, because most of the time in Bollywood movies they portray the image of Goa. Like for example, if they want to show any Goan person, like Goan guy, then they'll always show it in a floral shirts. But is it so? Like if you roam the streets of Goa, you'll never see a person wearing floral shirts over here. But they'll always portray it as a floral shirt. Then the ladies will wear dresses, Western dresses. But then it's not the thing actually, because our mother, our grandmothers, they always wear okay, whenever there is any occasion, they'll wear sari, or for any of the puja, they'll wear nawari. But whenever it is shown in the movie, the Goan guy is always shown in a floral shirt, and the Goan lady is always shown in Western dresses. So they always try to portray Goa to Western. But that's not the thing. Only in Singham movie they have shown a proper culture of Goa. So I think it's just Singham.
I can also think of Drishyam. Drishyam was also shot in Goa, right?
Yeah, Drishyam. Yeah, some part of Drishyam, yes, but they have not shown
culture.
In Singham movies, they have shown the culture. They have shown the even the marriage. They are fixing the marriage. So proper tradition of marriage is shown in Singham movie. But while if we consider Drishyam, they have not shown any temples, or they have not shown any of the heritage places.
But yes, the dialect of talking, the language was seen, places was seen. General, they have not hyped like other movies. The thing is no कि show the Goa एक forceful जो ये होता है ना कि उसको अभी वेस्टर्न ही दिखाना है, माइकल दिखाना है उसमें. So that thing was not done in Drishyam also. But Drishyam was not having the many scenes about the cultural scenes, right? So, but yeah, both the movies I feel. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe geographically they have shown
more things. Right. Yeah. So geographically no. So they have in Singham movie, I think I can remember one scene where they had shown the Kolwa police station. So Singham is working in Kolwa police station and he's patrolling near Old Goa Church. So geographically they had made big blunders. Kolwa is not so big area. It's a suburban area near Madgaon. Madgaon is a big city than Kolwa. But because I think the Kolwa is very much familiar word for people who come to Goa, that's why they have seen. I can add one historical blunder in one Marathi movie. Actually, Marathi movie shows this thing proper, because very close to Goa, no? Mumbai is not so far. So there was one movie on Hambirrao Moite. I cannot remember the Hambirrao movie, no? So they have shown the war of Fonda war. So the famous war of Fonda. So where Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj had fought himself. And Yashaji Kank was the Killedar of Fonda that time. And his son had got the Virgati, Krishnaji Kank, in that war. And it's a very turning point in Goa's history also. It's a very important war. And they have shown the Fonda fort, and near the Fonda fort they have shown the this thing, sea, Darya. So Fonda is not this thing, Durga or Fonda is a mountain fort. Gad आहे तो Gad Durga. It is a fort on a mountain axis. So not actually mountain, it's a fort near the mountain in a city, like a Fonda city. And the sea is very far away from Fonda. But just because the Fonda comes in Goa, they have shown the Darya in that movie. So it was a very big blunder actually. An historical movie had made this blunder and Marathi movie had blunder. So it was very this thing for me.
Yeah, we can call that maybe creative liberty, we can say. Those producers may have taken some creative liberty. That's okay. There are 2 points that I want to come to. One thing you mentioned about the Ponda part. So I'm going to come to that point about Ponda, the temples in Ponda. But before that, when we were talking about the representation in movies, so you mentioned about the dressings of characters, Goan characters, or the names. Albert Pinto, बहुत common नाम होता है बहुत सारी movies में for any person in Goa. So Albert or maybe similar names are very common. Or you also mentioned about how the people from Goa are often portrayed as alcoholic, or at least if not alcoholic, at least consuming alcohol most of the time. So that is one way short. But apart from all these points, I also noticed a lot of movies showing the food as typical rice and maybe fish curry, or fish being a very common part of Goan food. So is that so? Is that how the food really is in Goa?
So we eat lot of rice, we eat lot of fish curry. That is true. But the Goan food is not just fish curry rice. That is the thing. So one thing is the staple diet of Goans is a fish curry rice. So, but we cannot say a full part of Goa, but at least in the southern part of the Goa or the Sasti region or the Bardes region, so we use lot of fish. We require fish almost if Monday, Tuesday or Saturday. Living that all the days we require fish. Then we require curry, we require rice. But that is not just Goan cuisine. So Goan cuisines have lot of veg also. So Nisha can add about that.
Just like Abhideep said, Goa has fish curry rice. Goans eat fish curry rice like most of the days of the week, apart from Mondays in most of the villages. But then even the veg cuisine is very wide. There are some unique dishes that Goa has. Like for example, one of the dish is khatkate. Khatkate is prepared during any of the festival or it is a veg dish in which there is a mixture of vegetables. It may be a potato, pumpkin, then all kind of vegetables are mixed and it is being prepared. Then there is one more unique dish like amade. Most of the during Diwali, this amade chutney and all is being prepared. Then every festival has its unique dish. Like for example, on Nadi Panchami, specially patoyos have been made. I hope you're aware about patoyos. So during Nadi Panchami, patoyos have been made. Then during Diwali, there are especially pohas. Variety of pohas, those are being made. Now during Chaturthi, every day has a different dish. Like on the first day, there is Panchpalyachi bhaji. Panchpalyachi bhaji means 5 different vegetables, and these vegetables are the vegetables which are not usually found. Those are being the wild vegetables. Those are being collected and are mixed, and a vegetable is being made, Panchpalyachi bhaji. Then Ukdiche modak. Whenever we say Ukdiche modak, the first image will be Maharashtra, because we always see Marathi people making Ukdiche modak. But even in Goa, Ukdiche modak are equally famous. Then Sanna. During the Padwa is when we worship the cows and all. That time we made sanna. There are many dishes as such. There are many veg dishes which are not known to the outside of Goan people. Outside peoples. They always think that Goa is just fish curry rice, but there is a wide variety of veg food also.
Wow, the mention of ukdiche modak. It's really tempting. I mean, I had ukdiche modak. I think last year in Harihareshwar. I was in Harihareshwar in Ratnagiri district, and there I had this ukdiche modak, and now it's tempting me again. Maybe I should visit Goa very soon for at least for the food. So, okay, moving on and getting a little back to our track, back to what our page is all about, the Indian temples page is all about. So, getting to that topic, you mentioned about Ponda earlier, Ponda Fort, you were talking about it. So, Ponda village is, I think, the place where many of the temples are situated. Last time when I was having a discussion with Savni, she mentioned about how temples migrated from other places to this part of Goa. So, when we talk about those temples in Ponda or maybe the temples from all over the Goa, we mostly know about the Tamrisulla temple. That's because it's a popular tourist spot. But apart from that, how many of those ancient temples we can still see in Goa? Or how many places are there where we can see sculptures, different kind of ancient sculptures maybe lying around? Or also talk about the archaeological museums that are present in Goa.
So I will just start, then Tanaya can add more things in it. So Tamrisulla we know Tamrisulla very well. And it was not a disturbed temple. Where Portuguese have not destroyed it. It was located deep in the jungles. So whatever Inquisition happened, whatever persecution happened, the temples were happened in 3 talukas of Tiswadi, Bardesh and Salse. But beyond these 3 talukas, there was a Goa, which was under Adil Shah for a long period of time. And after that, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj had liberated that area. There was a rule of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. Local rulers like Sondekars, Sawantwadikar, Bhosles were there. Peshwas was having a direct control. Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj was having direct control in this. And in this region also, there were some temples. We will talk about the temples of Fonda also. But beyond Fonda, there are talukas of Sange, talukas of Kankon, talukas of Pedne, which have a lot of archaeological important structures. Okay, so Tanaya can start one by one.
Okay, talking about the Inquisition period, so there were means of ways which were used by the the original settlers or the original Gaukars of their areas where Inquisition took place. So where they have to ship their deities. So in Goa, the worship of satyr is very much popular. All right, now there are very debatable it's the exact etymological roots why the deity has been known as satyr is kind of debatable, or more interpretations are there. So satyr is basically a form of an antil which is being worshipped. All right. So it is worshipped because of the fertility called the mother goddess. Alright. Now San in Mundari language, Sat meaning the earth and air meaning coming out of the earth. Alright. So the antil is formed which is came out from the earth. So that's why satyr. Alright. So satyr, which we can't shift that satyr in a one night, because sometimes the satyr are too high and the height of the satyr are too high that they are touching the ceiling of the temples. So it makes very difficult for the villagers to shift the satyr. So there were means of ways which they use. For example, they used to place a shrifar, a coconut, in front of the deity, that is satyr. They used to invoke the deity, and then they used to collect the tattva and they used to run with that coconut. Alright, over a night they used to cross the sea, cross the river, and then they used to shift the deity. So there are many instances of that, and other one is like sometimes the vigraha or the murtis are so high that you can't lift that idols and you can't shift those idols in a one night. So what they used to do, they used to do abhishek, So they used to pour water on those idols, and then they used to collect that particular water in a one kalash. All right, so that's how they used to shift the deity, and that's how many festivals came up. Then they used to collect in Goa. There are forms of vigrahas or forms of murtis. For example, the main murti, then we have Utsav murti, then we have Prasad murti. So these are the various forms of murtis which are being worshipped in Goa. So they used to run with those murtis. So that's how the hotspot of the shifting deities came up. For example, Ponda is one of the great. Then Marshall, which also comes under the Ponda. Then we have Vathagram, which is today known as Picholi. So there many deities came. In Ponda, we have many deities such as the Mangesh, which is being shifted from Kushasthavi, that is today's Kortali, to Ponda. Then we have Shankhavareshwari, which is shifted from Shankhavari, which is today's Sankware, to Ponda. Then we have Ramnath of Lotli. In Marshall, we have Devki Krishna of Chorav Island, which is earlier known as Chudamani or Tsodan in Kokani. So then we have Pisaravarnath, Shanauravarnath, we have Mallinath, many Gajalakshmi which are being shifted. Then we have Shantadurga Vellekaran, Taravlekaran. So many deities were shifted. So that's how the temple hotspot being created in Goa. And why this is possible? It is because the rule in that area was so much dominating, or they were so much powerful. The small chieftains, small rulers, or the feudatories were very much powerful, and they were very much influenced. All right, so that's why it was possible. Then secondly, beyond these temples and beyond the like Tamrisulla temple, there are many temples which are actually a marvel. For example, there is a temple in Ponda Taluka in Khandipar village, that is Opa Khandipar. So the name of the temple is Saptakoteshwar, all right, which is said that was built during the Kadamba rule. The Tamrisulla is totally made up of a basalt rock. So on the other hand, this temple, that is Saptakoteshwar temple, is totally made up of laterite. So carving on a laterite is very difficult. So that temple is there. There in Pednem, in Pernan Taluka or Pedne, there is one temple which is known as Murvil temple. So alright, so around the walls of the Murvil temple there are murals, and they are depicting Vaishnavite scenes, basically the Dashavatars, the Mahabharat scene, or the Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwar. So most interesting thing is that it is dated to some around 16th century. So the Varaha avatar of Lord Vishnu, it's shown lifting a earth, all right. So and the shape of the earth is geode. So that is very, very interesting that the shape of the earth is geode, and our ancestors were aware about this before the finding of these people. Like we usually connect the findings or the discoveries, inventions to the Western ideas, to the Western world. But no, it was not that. It was our ancestors were also advanced, and that is the proof that our ancestors were so advanced. So many temples are there. For example, as I said, the incidents, how they used to pour or how they used to do abhishek, and then they used to collect the water in the kalash. So there is one incident that from Saligaon, the deity Sharvani was shifted to Bicholim, Advalpal village. So every year, to commemorate that particular event, the shifting, the kalash of Shravani Devi is being once again taken to her original place. So shifting of deities and the emergence of the new rituals or the festivals also emerged. All right, so new festivals emerge as this shifting of deities took place. There are many festivals. I would like Abhideep to look into the festivals.
Okay, beyond this also I can add some temples. Then I had it about the Saptakoteshwar. So this Saptakoteshwar is different Saptakoteshwar from the V Saptakoteshwar of Narvea is very popular, which was rebuilt by Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. That is also, there are 2-3 Saptakoteshwars actually. This Saptakoteshwar temple is not so popular. Beyond, so if you consider Goa, geographical Goa, Gomantak right now, the Pedne talukas have a lot of temples which are not so much known. There's a temple of Murzai, which has a ancient Kavi painting, Kavi arts. We have temples at Advalpal, that's in Bichole Taluka again. We have temples in Kankon Taluka. The Mallikarjun temple, which Sanisha had mentioned before, where the Shisharani festival of Shisharani happens. That is also ancient temples. There is a temples of Parshuram. So the Parshuram Bhagwan has a few temples, but Goa has a temple of Parshuram. Then Goa has a four or five temples of Brahma. So Brahma temples are very unique, right? So there are very few Brahma temples. Goa has a Brahma temple in the village called Brahma Karmali. So it was in Karmali village before. In Inquisition, it was shifted to Brahma Karmali. But you have that Vigraha, this thing, Vigraha of Brahma. Then there is a Brahma temple in Pedna Talukas also. So then Goa has a temple of, I think, Kartikeya. There is an idol of Kartikeya is found in Goa. Idol of Indra has been found in Goa. So there is an idol of Nagna Ganapati. So archaeologically also Goa has a lot of things to give. When it comes to iconography, it comes to murti, then I can add four more such this thing which are very much unique in its structures.
Okay, so in the Kankon Taluka, there is a village known as Lolye. So you must have heard about the Nagdo Betar. So that Nagdo Betar is in the Lolye village. It's a beautiful Vigraha Murti. It is in the Tribhanga position and it is being worshipped in an open ground. No shelter is on the head of the Nagdo Betar. So Betar cult is very much popular in Goa, and the Betar, the concept of Betar in terms of the other part of India are basically considered as very ugra, something relates to the Narabhaksha or something relates to the Tantric and all. The concept in Gomantak in Goa is completely different than that of what other people think beyond the Goa. Betar has been, it's the family deity or Kuladaivat of many people. Even from my maternal side, we are our Kuladaivat is Betar. So it is completely different from what is the notion of the people about the Betar. Secondly,
Sanya, sorry to interrupt. Sorry to
Yes,
interrupt
sir.
for only for a second. Yeah, actually, Betal is also associated with Smashan in many parts of country. And the way you mentioned, I think it is very similar to what we call as Khindoba, Jyotiba in Maharashtra. So these are mostly folk deities. So is the notion in Goa, the notion of Beta is like a folk deity, like a family deity, or is it like a tantric and smashan kind of thing? So these are two different concepts, right?
it is not at all a tantric deity and all. It is completely a folk deity and a family deity. Many people worship Betar as a family deity. Alright, so many villages are there where Betar, almost in all the villages of Goa there are Betar and which are being worshipped, and many people have the Betar as their family deity, and there are no such tantric practices are being performed in front of the Betar or the vicinity of the temple itself. And the earlier Betar idols are supposed to be made up of chafa wood, the chafa flower we have. So now after how the other dynastic influences, so it turned out into a rock idol, but at some places the wooden idol are still existing, and at some places the tall, it's like so huge that 2 people height it is. Alright, so they are being worshipped in many villages. So the popular Betar are like Advalpal Betar, then Shirodwadi Betar, Amona Betar, Nagdo Betar. Now there are like, why only the Nagdo Betar is called as Nagdo? One possibility is Nagdo meaning nude. So he's being worshipped in a nude form only. So in the rest of the Goa, all the Betars are also nude, but they are not known as nude Betar or Nagdo Betar. The one possible reason can be they are in daily ritualistic practice. Nagdo Betar is also in daily ritualistic practice, but the temples are being constructed and they are dressed. उनको कपड़ा पहनाया जाता है, what we call as dhoti, shawl. They are offered as shawl and all. So their drapery is there on their bodies. So that's why they are not known as the Nagro Betar. Whereas Nagro Betar in Lole is completely nude. The rituals are being carried out, but the drapery he has not worn any clothes as such. But the kambar and all are offered to him.
Talking about various temples, you mentioned many temples present in Goa. Some of them were shifted to new place, and the old sculptures or old structure still somehow exist in some part. So to continue with the same point, today morning only I read a news about how some idols were stolen from one of the temples that was not attended. Does this happen very commonly in Goa, or is this like just one of the cases that happens sometimes?
It is not a common thing. Like Tamil Nadu and Odisha. This has happened. Actually, 6-7 years back, some beer girls were found missing. So this place at Zadani in Sattari Taluka, it comes under the reserve forest area, Mahadevi Forest Sanctuary area, and people actually doesn't go there frequently. People go there to do some abhishek during this thing Shivratri or during Shravan. So when people visited the Shravan, they noticed that the murtis were missing. But it's a great loss, I think, if the murtis didn't come back, because they were very the murtis was very distinct. There were Gajalakshmis there were Mahishasur Mardinis, lot of other folk deities was there, and was collected from that region and was kept in that place. But there are some measures I think should taken, because there are a lot of vigrahas, there are a lot of such murtis, such virgas are there in open. So there are no proper this thing is provided to them. So if it should not happen again and again, and this culprit should be arrested fast. Otherwise, the Goan history can get a lot of problems if this continued.
So what I get from what you just said is that this doesn't happen very commonly. These are just like one of the instances, and the society or the people of Goa are generally very concerned about the culture and the sculptures that are laying around. They are generally protective about them. Is that what you are saying?
No. I will not say in that way, because people are very much aware about the sculptures. Many of the villagers don't even know the importance of the murti that is there. Some people might get this thing angry with my statement right now, but I have to say that many of temple have replaced the old vigrahas to the new one. Okay, if vigraha is content, you should replace it, but that old vigraha should be kept in some place in the temple premises, or should given to archaeology, should given to some museum, so that the historians can study that vigraha, because we know the murti vigraha speaks about the culture, speaks about the many things, but they are been visurgit, they have been taken to, many of the vigrahas have been visurgit. Just now Tanya talked about the betar. Earlier, this betar used to be made from a tree, wood betar. Chafetso betar used to stay. We find very less that betar made up of wood right now in Goa. There are many ancient murtis have been replaced. We will find a lot of murtis just lying in some ruins. There is a lot of work to be done by the government also, by the society also, by people to protect these things, to protect such shilpas, murtis, because it's our heritage. You should do it. It's a much concerned issue. It is actually. It's a lot of vigrahas.
I feel that if there are any murtis, then the locals should report to archaeology department, because these murtis are like the gems of our past or of our history. So through this medium, I would like to request the locals that if there are any murtis near them, then please report to archaeology department. Archaeology department are well sufficient to take care of it.
Yeah, actually, I was about to ask the question that how can other people help this cause. So thanks for answering it even before I asking. Okay, so when you were talking about how people are just they are not really preserving the old murtis or old vigrahas, and they are discarding them, or maybe just throwing them in the river. So that's not really a uncommon phenomena. It happens everywhere, even in Maharashtra or even in parts of Karnataka. I have seen people doing that. They say keeping the broken idol is not really a good thing, and so they throw away the broken idols in the river. And many times, a lot of architectural heritage is just wasted because in this way. So I hope we can. I mean, we can at least try not to let this happen. We can create some awareness, but beyond that, there is not much we can do about it. So getting back to
Even I can
yeah.
Okay, I can add just thing before that. Even the temple architecture is a very much topic of concern. So there is this thing to build concrete temples, removing the olden roof of a temple. So yeah, we can understand that every villagers want their village temple to be a great temple. But in the older architecture that is there, the Goan temple architecture is also a unique kind of architecture, right? So actually that is also been disturbed right now. So there is this thing. Our temple should be modern, our temple should be new. So get the fund from them, get from this thing, and we will arrange the funds, we will construct it. But one positive thing I had to tell that there are 2-3 temples, and even I request you also, our viewers also, to visit those temples. One, those have been constructed in the older architectural things, not a Goan older architecture, but what a temple should be. One is the temple of Shantadurga Paldikar, the Sanisha's native place from Sanisha. So they have had done a good temple, this thing. Then there's a temple of another Saptakoteshwar at Fatarfa village. They have tried to maintain they have built a new temple for the deity, but in a proper Bharatiya Paddhati, how the temple should be, using a proper materials. Temples of Mallikarjun, temples of Kashi Purush Mutt of Mallikarjun, they have preserved the old temples. Many temples of Fonda Mahal have tried to preserve the old pillars, tried to preserve the old roof. There are positive this thing also, where the people are trying to preserve the proper architecture of the temple. But there are this thing also at the other side where people are not thinking. So they just think, "Arey, purana ho gaya temple. It is leakage is happening. This thing is happening, and the renovation, the archaeological style of renovation is not very costly. So we will demolish the temple. We will build a new concrete temple. But this thing should be. We have to think on this, how we can work out."
Okay, for our viewers and those who are listening to this podcast on Spotify, we'll be sharing Google Map links of all the temples that were just mentioned by Abhidip. I will request Abhidip to send me the Google Map links, and we will definitely put them up in the description, so that you can mark them and you can visit them whenever you are in Goa. So, Abhidip, getting back to the organization that you started, this Yugaantar Goa, you earlier talked about what functions it's doing, and you also in the flow of discussion we talked about many topics about culture of Goa and history, as well as the temples, the architectural marvels. That we touched many points here. So we'll again circle back to the original topic, Yugaantar Goa. You are obviously at a very early stage of the organization, but you have done a really commendable work, even in this short span of time. So, what do you see the future of the organization? What other activities you want to take up in the coming days?
So at the start of this organization, when I had the organization, we were just small group of people. So at the beginning, it was very spontaneous thing that we have done. So there was one thing happened one day, and I and Sanisha was during the lockdown actually, and I had written one article, and I have posted on my personal Facebook, Instagram account, Facebook account, and no one had seen that article. मैंने इतना अच्छा लिखा है और एक दो तीन लोग ही लाइक कर रहे हैं, तो that was my mentality. So in that discussion, Sanisha said, okay, let's not post it with our name. We'll make one page, we'll do that. And was it just discussion of 10 minutes, like चलो चलो पेज बनाएंगे. Lockdown period, no, we are at home and all. So we made one page. So what name we should keep? So from my childhood, I was very much influenced by the revolutionaries who have fought for India's freedom struggle. So I had heard this name, Yugaantar, which is a Bengali revolutionary organization. So that name struck in my mind. So we'll keep Yugaantar Goa. We'll keep that name. We have to start it. At that time, it was not we will work in this thing. It was just like we'll post about some things. We'll post about articles. Sanisha used to write poems. I used to write things. We'll post that things on there. But our first post was about our village, about our village story also. So we had post about the village, simple slides of that. But that slides got viral. It reached to many people. Many people appreciated it. One person who appreciated it was Shefali Vaidya also, and she was like, "Aap video banao, you should do more content on it." This thing, she motivated us a lot, and then we start our content. As I told, our first video was Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj in Goa, and that was how it was started. But at that time, we realized that now people are actually following us. There are some 1,000 people who follow us, see our content, gives us the feedback. Now it is our thing that we have to actually post some things for them. Actually, we should work on it. So it is a joy part for us in the beginning, for me, for Sanisha. Right now also it's a joy part only. We feel joyful in doing the content. It's where we are doing the content. But later on, the team was started increasing. One of our friend, Rohan Desai, is a part of our team from the very beginning stage of our team. He joined. He started doing the voiceover. First our videos doesn't used to have voiceovers. It's to like a slide is going on, text is going on, music is going on in the backside. Then he started giving the voiceover of our story. We started building, trying to get more research, more content, this thing. And that by that time lockdowns also was over, so we traveled the places. So we are doing the content. So we see the actually जो book में लिखा है, जो पहले इसका में, it is there right now. So we visited their place, we saw how much things are going on. Then Tanaya joined us. Tanaya has a lot of knowledge about Goan history. She read lots of books of Goa history. So that thing was added. Two more boys joined us. So this is how, like, we are a team of 4-6 people working. So this is right now for us. But with the time we realize many things, that a Goan society is needed. One of the thing was what we talk right now in Bharat also, that is decolonization of mindset, right? So Goa was the first land of Bharat to get colonized, right? And it was the last land to get liberated. So we are technically we should be the most needful person. Decolonization की अगर किसको जरूरत है तो इसको होने चाहिए. This was for a longer period of time it become someone's colony. So on that aspect also we started thinking ki, yes, there is a need to speak on some issues, some topics, and that things we have started recently. Sanisha can add more things in it.
Okay. The impact of Portuguese was so much that even today we can see many people they say that the days of Portuguese was good. In spite of knowing the brutality, the all kind of things that the Goans had to face. Still, they are saying that the days of Portuguese were good. Just few days back, one person said that this thing Portuguese policing is required in Goa to stop the crime rate. So this is how the Goan minds are being impacted. Even if we go to see the architectures, even the tourism department, they try to promote the Indo-Portuguese architecture or the Indo-Portuguese food or Indo-Portuguese fashion. So that is what is being promoted. Soon after independence, the government which was ruling at that time, instead of promoting the original architecture of Goa, they started promoting the Indo-Portuguese architecture. So of course, the Portuguese has been affected. The mindset of Goans are being affected a lot with the rule of Portuguese. Today we all know about the Inquisition, how the Goans had to face, what they had to face, what they had to lose. But even today, there are many people who say that the days of Portuguese were good. We need to change this mentality. Yeah, and that is what Yugaantar Goa is aiming for.
And while you are trying to change this mentality, while you are working on it, what are the ways in which we can help you? I mean, other influencers on Instagram or other similar pages, or maybe those who are not very much into social media but those who want to help. How can all of us help you guys in this endeavor?
Yeah, one thing we have started recently to conduct trail for students, talks for students for the schools. It is obviously non-commercial this thing. So we had approached some schools had approached us. We took them to the archaeological sites to show them that this is the real Goa. So that is this is a small step we have done. We are planning to start some actual talks. We can bring some people, can do main course discussions. So see, this kind of discussion, this kind of podcast is important. See, from the start of the discussion also we have started कि ऐसी mentality क्यों बन गई है लोगों की, because they have been fed with such mentalities, right? So Bollywood is responsible. Okay, we don't bother about the Bollywood, but a government was there for so many years also didn't did anything. Right now the tourism is trying to do some good things, but more and more people like you post about the Goa, post about the ancient Goa's architecture, how Goa's temples are right now. So these are very helpful. This can change a lot of mentality among the Indians, among the our Bhartiyas, that the Goa is this also. Okay, and thing is कि it will take a time, because one thing we have to understand that Portuguese had set one doctrine, what we say denationalizing the Goans, we say, no, कि उनके ऐसे पोर्ट्रेट करो कि लगे कि गोवा उनका ही भाग है, and somewhere they succeeded in the portraying actually, but we have to start the reverse process right now. So more and more people like you visits Goa, more and more we have a discussion with the Goan people who are speaking, and right now there is a big I will say a bunch of people who are coming out talking about the Goan culture, talking about this thing. So उनको ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा interaction जैसे हो जाएगा, बाकी के इन्फ्लुएंसर जो ऑलरेडी टेम्पल्स में काम कर रहे हैं, बाकी के इन्फ्लुएंस जो द भारतीय संस्कृति में जो कंटेंट कर रहे हैं, उनसे जितना से जितना इंटरेक्शन होगा, the people will understand what is real Goa is, and they will slowly this will change the mindset. We have to think positive. This will, of course, one day it will change the mindset, and we are going in a positive direction. I can say this thing right now कि yes, we are heading towards a positive direction, because one thing I had to mention कि from my childhood जो 26 जनवरी की जो परेड होती है, I used to see the the float of carnival, float of bebo, float of every European culture possible there. But now the Shigmo has been portrayed there. Now I think the temple of Tamrisula was portrayed. This is a change, no? This slow change will get to it. Recently, the Goa government had promoted the Chikalkalo mud festival, about what Sanisha had explained you before. So that is the positive thing that is happening. So yeah, let's hope. I think the positivity will come over here, and we require the help of everyone. See, गोवा लिबरेट करने में भी बहुत भारतवासियों का खून गया था. If you don't know, many of our brothers all over from Bharat had come to Goa in satyagrahas. They have shed their blood in Goa on the Goan borders, and that's why the Goa is liberated today. Goa is a part of Bharatiya Bharat today. So yes, जो फिजिकली लिबरेट तो हो गया है, मेंटली कुछ बचा है वो भी हो जाएगा. हमको ये करना है. इट विल बी डन.
जिस तरह से हम सनबर्न फेस्टिवल को जानते हैं, गोवा के सनबर्न फेस्टिवल, दैट इज वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट पार्टी इन द कंट्री. सो आई होप समडे कि हम गोवा को जो एक्चुअल गोवन फेस्टिवल से, एक्चुअल कल्चरल फेस्टिवल से किसी दिन उनसे भी जानेंगे. आई होप सो. एंड विद dedicated people like Yugaantar Goa, dedicated teams like you, dedicated archaeologists or Indologists coming up in sharing the culture of Goa. Definitely that day is not too far. I hope कि हम जल्दी से जल्दी वो दिन देख पाए. Friends, thank you very much for taking out some time and talking to the Indian Temple channel. I really appreciate this part, and definitely हमें और भी कुछ पॉडकास्ट करने हैं, because while I was speaking to you, while I was discussing on all these topics, I realized कि 1 hour or 1.5 hours is definitely not enough. We will need more time, we will need more topics, and we will definitely have to meet again and create some more podcast. I hope जल्दी मैं कभी गोवा जब आऊँ तो आपसे मिल पाऊंगा, आपके साथ वहाँ बैठ के चाय के साथ में बहुत सारी बातें करूंगा. Definitely चाय के साथ, not with alcohol, because we have to change that image as well about Goa. So thank you very much for taking out some time for our viewers, and it was really a wonderful time, wonderful pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you to you also for giving us this opportunity to share our thoughts about Goa, and of course for giving us this platform so that the real image about Goa will be known to many other states of India and even outside India, so that next time when the foreigners or tourists come to Goa, they don't dress up into floral dresses and they just don't visit the beaches and churches. They'll also make a point to visit the temples also and know about the folk culture of Goa.